Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And we've got another platoon here, this time with myself, Zemke, and Yoo-Hoo during a stream. Some of you may have seen this game. It was the last game on a stream. And this is a great setup. These tanks are completely, stupidly overpowered, the BZ-176. They can be frustrating because they're not very accurate, but there's so many other things going for it that it's kind of ridiculous. But this is a nice little end game carry by myself and Zemke, and Yoo-Hoo chips in some damage. Ends up dying a little bit early on this one, and I figured it was pretty much a loss based on what we were looking at, but we'll take a look at this game, talk about it as we go. I wanted to show you my setup just for giggles, running a turbo, an IA, and a rammer on this tank. I want to say maybe I'm around 20 battles, maybe slightly less actually. It's on my list of tanks for the 100 battle challenge. I sort of saved this one because I knew it was just going to be friendly and an easy kind of tank to get to 100 battles. We'll see what my ending win rate ends up being. So far it's pretty good, and this was a fun little game. This is not so much about, hey, look at us, we really pulled this thing out. It's a little bit more about this tank being kind of dumb. And but at the end of the game, myself and Zemke are definitely talking about how we pull this thing out. I didn't really expect to win, to be quite honest, but it's nice to have a platoon mate that is willing to work with you, go to the same spots, all that good stuff. You know, when I say go to the same spots, I'm not talking about somebody who will crowd into exactly the same spot, but the same general area on the map, and have a discussion between yourself and your platoon mates about how you're going to fight this thing. So we are here on Himmel's Ruhenberg Dorf. I'm going to go to the spot in the heavy brawling area that I prefer, and you got Zemke goes over there to that spot that he prefers, and we've got Yoo-Hoo pushing in there as well. So we're going to use the rocket power. You know, it's interesting with these rockets, you know, when do I use them? Do I slowly trundle in position and then use them later in the game? I like to use when I've got 4 or more, and really even with the tier, I think 7's got rockets on as well. I think 3. 1 or 2 to kind of get into a position, and if I can get there early to where I can aim in and get a nice aimed in shot on a spot that I know tanks will come to, that's one of the ways I like to use the rockets. And then I'm going to try to save the other 2 or 1 or 3, whatever it is, depending on the tier, for later moves. And I'll show you what I mean by that a little while later. So that allows me to get in here and just get a nice aim in, and this tiger is probably thinking, oh bummer. And we whack him for 774. Now that's one of the nice things about the HE round on this thing. The high explosive is 225 pen. Wow. Wow. Look at that asterisk. Does not depend on distance for this type of shell. I've never noticed that before. That's new. And an 800 hit point average damage. Absolutely brutal. But you will also get things, and I'm going to miss this because I don't fully zoom, like that, right? We don't really have a great dispersion on this thing. You can see the bloom's massive. It takes a long time to zoom in. Zemke and Yoo-Hoo are going to go up to that corner. Really, if we're going to win this game, it's all about this platoon. There are a couple tier 9s that we're dealing with. We've got a 4502 Bravo on each side. They've got a Skoda T50, and we've got a Patton. I am not seeing anybody come up to the corner. I'm going to miss this shot too. Sorry, did not miss that shot. It's the 4502, we're going to have some issues with it. 53 TP shows up right there, and that's what I need to watch out for when I'm working this corner. And I'm going to start getting the tender ministrations of the Crusader SP, who apparently has the small gun because he's going to shoot very quickly. So we're going to come out here, and I'm thinking, all right, we'll just finish this guy off right. Oh, zoom, 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 and boom. Oh, what? Crusader got me for 150. Total miss on the 4502. So far things are going okay. We're just discussing how this fight's going on the corner. Yoo-Hoo's doing a little push out right there. He's taking some hit points of damage. The 4502 Bravo, to his credit, does a pretty good job with what he's got to deal with. That is unfortunate. Another miss. He only gets a track on me. Artillery's going to keep on dumping itself in there. We've got Zemke, who's now being shot from behind, and unfortunately, probably the worst thing we got going on for our team is the fact that we don't really have a lot of guys controlling this central, or not central, but eastern village up on the hill. That gives them free shots down onto Zemke or Yoo-Hoo. So at this point, based on positioning, we're not in great shape, and that speaks a lot to the issues we're about to have with starting to lose this game. They've killed our 4502 Bravo, unfortunately. So I'm like, all right, well, let's shoot him in the lower plate. This will be great. Nope, we'll get 79, and to his credit, he thumps me. So he's taking big chunks off of myself, Zemke, and Yoo-Hoo. The Crusader continues to dump shots on me as well. Down goes the 53. That was a good shot right there. Let's see if we can put a shot on him. No. All right, let's aim in. Aim in. Oh, bummer. Another 72. All right, yep, shooting into the faceplate with an HE shot. If I'm not getting a weak spot, I'm not going to pen that. Long reload on this thing. Unfortunately, Yoo-Hoo ends up dying. Didn't really help that our Patton was kind of sitting back in the back corner. We got a Ferdy way back there and somebody else, I think, an artillery. So things are starting to look a little sad for us. This time I'm going to actually aim. I'm going to go for that. Nice. And I take a hit back. Go for that hatch. Again, I wasn't fully zoomed, though. I didn't really want to eat another 400, 500 off of that dude, so I'm going to take a little bit of an early shot. Dispersion / RNG works in my favor that time. You can see that the little Crusader with the high angle shot is getting some nice shots on me. We thumped that guy for a nice 212. Unfortunate we didn't get a pin. Look at this. Boom. Still getting shots at me. This is a spot that is vulnerable to arty, especially those that have a high arc, like the little gun on the Crusader does. I'm wondering if this Tiger's really going to give me another shot here. There's the Crusader dumping on me again. I'm like, oh, he is going to come out. Thank you. And we thumped that poor guy for 653. It's a silly tank, fellas. It really is. It is definitely a silly tank. So Zemke now is down to a one-shot. So he takes some shots. He's doing some serious work trying to keep those guys busy over there. You can see that the little village has been cleared off. Now here's where I decide to use the rockets for the second time. This is the kind of thing that I try to save them for. I'm watching the view range circle, and we'll talk about this as I pull out. All right. And I just activated the rockets. So I'm watching the view range circle. Notice that the Setter and the Scorpion are right on the edge. So they're outside. Theoretically, I don't get spotted crossing. We'll see what actually happens here in just a minute. But I want to cross this open area here with the rockets, so I'm going as fast as possible. Ideally, my turret would be pointed towards them. I'm also worried about the T-29 right there. And then the Crusader. And that was something that I wasn't counting on right there. The good news is I am past, or nearly past, the open spot of the road right there. The Crusader is going to spot me, but the Setter and the Scorpion did not. Good news is that I am past. He takes a stab at me. And we're going to go ahead and push on in here. And I'm going to hit the rockets again. I don't know. I'd love to have that one back, but the other thought is if there's anything sitting up here on this road, then I want to cross this open area as fast as possible. So it ends up working out okay for me. And we start to lose our friends. There goes the EBR. EBR, bit concerned with what he did right here. Unfortunately, he pushes in. So that's good. Finds the SP. I take a stab at it because I knew he was making a runner. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't really like what I did here. I'm out in the open. If there's anybody sitting over here, I'm in trouble. Based on where everything is, I don't expect that to be true if you look at the mini-map. But something could have started to move back, and I don't really remember how old some of those spots were. So I was a bit concerned by that. There's the S-51. And I make another little mistake here. I kind of spent a lot of time looking for a shot on this S-51, and he just happens to be where he is, hiding behind that column. I was very, very bummed that the EBR didn't go out there and take this guy out. The 8.8 though has shots on him, so obviously the EBR is probably thinking, well, I'm not really that interested in going and dying, just trying to kill this S-51. And now we're starting to discuss the Scorpion that has showed up. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave the EBR, and he's going to have to do the best that he can. Kind of expected Zemke to die, but he kills off the Setter. All right, let's talk about this here real quick. I saw his marker moving, the Scorpion, right? If you look at my proxy circle here, and you should have that turned on, by the way, fellas. I don't want to put him inside my proxy circle so he knows I'm coming right now, all right? He knows I'm over here. but I don't want him to know that I'm coming back this way, because he may try to turn up or turn his gun towards me. And I'm thinking, all right, I got this guy right here. We'll just come out. He's making a runner. He may have even seen my marker start to move, so he may have been doing to me what I was doing to him. I'm sort of expecting maybe to get shot at by the S-51. So now it's myself, Zemke, and the EBR Hotchkiss. So I come over here. We're discussing now, all right, how are we going to extricate ourselves from this situation? I really think you need to get out of there if you can. So now what you want to do when you're working with this, unfortunately we don't have voice comms with the EBR, but we want to put our view in as many directions as possible here to keep them from coming in behind us. I'm going to take a bit of a chance and just see if I can find somebody being stupid right there. I unfortunately do not. Nobody just pops around the corner. Zemke's talking to the EBR. He's like, hey man, find something to do that's useful. Find a bush, do something. Now he's going to rage down the south. And I kind of like that. I'm like, all right, EBR's watching that way. Zemke's watching that direction. I'll come over here. We'll side scrape and we'll see. EBR says he heard something. Not really sure what that means. He may have heard something get knocked down. Some guys have their sounds like that up. I have that stuff turned down, so rarely do I hear buildings get knocked down. All right, find the 8.8. Looks like Zemke saw him. So I'm going to head this way and see if I can't surprise the 8.8. I'm thinking, well, maybe he'll be on this back corner, or maybe the S-51 will show up. Well, the S-51 does show up. This is pretty funny. We'll come around here. The S-51's kind of doing what we were talking about. He's watching a direction, right? Come around here. Oh, geez, there he is. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Dead. No, we miss, and he gets a chunk of me. Just a little bit. 25 hit points. Okay. Long reload on the BZ-176 is something to think about. Now, the EBR goes running out into the field. I'm not super jazzed by that. That is just kind of an unsupported push. On the one hand, you get it. You want him to go find things. But he found them all right. You know, and so that was bad. Man, I could have used a kill shot on that guy. Do not get it. All right. He does some good work on me. Hits me there for 329. 329? 329. Wow. That's pretty amazing, actually. 329. That's a pretty good eye roll. Thank you, Dispersion. Thank you, Dispersion, for making that happen right there. Because we are both down to a one-shot. 2v3 now, so we've knocked that guy out. But we know we've got an ISU with a lot of hit points, and RHM, and both of us on a one-shot. And it looks like the S-51's coming in to try to blat me. Now, here's what's really interesting about this, and a problem with the S-51, guys. It has none. I don't even know what its depression is. It may be 0, but it's very bad. And it's a tall gun. So watch what he has a problem with this. He comes around. He's trying to put his gun on me. Or was thinking about it, and he just really can't do it. So now let's back out. And what's funny about this is there's just a little bit of a V right there, and I'm wondering if he's going to get shot on me. What I don't know is that Zemke has come around this way, and he's able to take him down. Now this is a huge lesson right here, guys. It's hard to fight two guns at once. All right? Now he's an arty, very slow traverse, inaccurate gun, no armor, so that's a really bad situation. But even if it was just a regular tank, having to deal with two different guns at one time is not easy, and it's going to play into the rest of this as well. So Zemke and I are discussing who's watching what. I find the RHM, and I'm fantastically lucky he doesn't kill me here. Like, oh no, look at that. Stupid tank. It's an it's a BZ, fellas. He bounced, right? And it was a side shot, so unfortunate for that guy. And now we're just talking about, all right, you watch that way, I'll watch this way. The other discussion at this point right here is, oh crap, all right, so he can watch this way, but I'm on the outside edge. If somebody came around that edge right now, I'm the one that's exposed, and Zemke's not really ready to take the shot, so he's trying to turn his tank around so he can look that way. He was concerned about somebody sneaking in behind him without me seeing him, because I don't have line of sight down that road. So I back out of this a little further, thinking I'm going to guard him from the other direction. And then I kind of consider it and go, because we're having the discussion. Like, well, if the RHM pushes up here, he may get around the corner and see Zemke. There we go. Uh-oh. All right. Wow. Unfortunate there, and I thought this was pretty much the end. What's going to happen is the ISU will fix the track. He'll nuke one of us. The RHM will come around because we both fired, and he'll be inside our reload. Get that shot. Oh, look at that. It's a silly tank, fellas. It's a silly tank. Honestly, if you look at this game, is that the third situation we should have been done, or the fourth? It's at least the third, maybe the fourth. Could be more based on other shots. I don't even know what Zemke ended up bouncing. But these tanks are absolutely hilarious. 4,153 damage. We're discussing the RHM, like, where is this guy? Both of us are trying to reload as soon as we can. And Zemke finds the RHM backing out. Those little side scrape finds the guy. And the ISU makes a huge mistake right here. I'm not really sure. He might have a shot on my left lower plate right there, but he's trying to zoom in while I'm trying to zoom in. I'll just take the shot a little early there. The reason I can do that is I know Zemke's going to reload. So if I'm late shooting, maybe I keep zooming and he somehow clips me on that bottom piece, I know Zemke's going to be able to charge forward and take this guy out. So I was comfortable with waiting for my dispersion to get in. He was either waiting or didn't have the shot he wanted, or whatever the case may be, but I did shoot before full dispersion contraction on that, before full aim, knowing that even if I missed, Zemke's going to have a shot, and if he shoots and kills me, Zemke's got a shot because he's going to be able to have a round reloaded, and that guy will not. So there you go. Let's take a quick look at Zemke's, but I ended up with 6 kills here, 4,172 damage, bounced 1,730. Two absolutely critical bounces that should have taken me out of the game. But it was a fun game, and it was a great discussion in Platoon. That's one of the great things about this game, is playing in platoons, working with your friends out there and trying to figure out how to solve these kinds of problems. Let's take a quick look at Zemke's stuff. So what I did not know about, or as much about this fight, was what happened over here on this corner. We've got Zemke and Yoo-Hoo pushing in, so he's going to come around here and take some peeks. You can see that, unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, we just don't have anybody close enough up in the eastern little village to give me a warm fuzzy on what's going on, but he will cross here. He does get spotted, so there's an EBR or something raging around there. And then these two guys come in here and start working on the Tiger II. So there's again that HE issue that these tanks have. He takes that shot and does a whole 100. He does have to watch right here, fellas. If you get into this position, notice that it's pretty easy to stick your butt around that rubble pile right there, especially if you get 2 tanks in right here. And they're tucking in because they don't want this Tiger II to have free shots down onto the top of their turret right there. The nice thing about this position is he can look over here and take shots, potentially, depending on what's going on. But again, our team is not forward enough to make anything really happen. I did not notice where our 4502B went. That was a terrible move. Check it out. That's funny. I didn't realize that. That's where he went. So he essentially did nothing for the team. Well, these guys are tucked in here. The enemy 4502 is coming in, looking to do some side scraping here. These guys are working on him. That's my shot on him. Zemke does a nice 409. He eats a shot from the Tiger II, and now he's sticking his rear end. These two are bumping each other. Oh boy, that's looking bad between Yoo-Hoo and Zemke right there. Someone's about to eat another big shot, and holy cow, gets away with it, so he blocks that 490 Alpha. Yoo-Hoo piles in there looking for a shot. Oh man, that felt like maybe a shot there. A couple opportunities potentially. Puts 277. Sticking his rear end around. Looks like we're a little bit lucky though that the Panther's not quite in draw distance. Our 4502 is dead, so he died there uselessly. That's hard. That's hard to lose a tier 9 like that. So they're getting pushed back, and now he's got a schedule behind him. That's not great. Turns back around, puts his front armor. There's a setter up there as well. Now he's going to use this dead tank, the Tiger I, to give a little bit more cover and the rubble right there. That's not bad. Yeah, so he's getting attacked by that guy. There's the 8.8. Man, it would have been nice to put a nice round in. Uh-oh, look out, setter. This is where the setter gets a nuked. That is unfortunate. A low roll. That is very unfortunate. He had a good chance, really, to take out the setter. He's getting... Oh, do we blind shoot? No, we're going to find us... Oh, no, we're not quite reloaded, and we're not going to get that shot. And to some extent, the dead tank works against us, but I don't think he would have got the shot anyway. Does he blind shoot the FSV? Hard to tell. Hard to tell. I didn't see it hit the ground, so he may have hit that guy too. So that's where I got the 4502 dead. And now we're really starting to lose the little village area up there. Setter's got us lit. Doing a nice job keeping that armor, extra armor from that tank. Uh-oh, FSV. Is he going to get nuked? Nope. Did not get there. That's a tough shot. Bouncing little shots off of himself. Or not off of himself, but bouncing shots from little tanks. You'd really like to get out of that position now because it's not a great position at this point. Setter tries to do, looks like he tries to track him maybe with some HE. So he's been spotted the whole time here. Oh, and we take a big hit from the Scorpion G. Guy's smart enough to back out. I'm really surprised actually that Zemke got out of this. The setter does 1 point of damage, does not get tracked. Is he going to bounce the Scorpion shot? Oh, yes. So more evidence, my friends, of how silly this tank really is, to be honest. There's another, I don't know, 2 maybe situations, 3, where where the other tank shouldn't have been in the game. So remember I said I had 3 or 4, maybe 5. He's got 2 or 3 himself. I mean, honestly, the game wants us to win. Oh, we missed the setter as he goes by. Yeah, the dispersion on this tank can be very frustrating for sure. Honestly, though, it's good it's got that problem. I mean, otherwise it would have no problems. It's maybe even it's maybe a little more accurate than it should be, to be honest. Quite a silly tank. So we're going to hold this corner. Obviously, he and I are discussing the whole situation that's going on behind us. There we go. This is where the Lorraine pushes and gets killed by the 8.8. Yep. And then the EBR decides against it. The setter comes out, puts another 4 points of damage. What is he looking at? Oh, did we get the kill here? This is hilarious. The Scorpion G just bounced another shot? Oh no, I didn't even know that. That's hilarious. Time number 12, I guess, that this game should have been essentially over. Poor on Batman. He has to be raging. Not only did he not kill Zemke, he was on the run. I came around the corner without a full aim and still hit him and killed him. Yep. He's like, those stupid BZs, those are horrible. That's what I'd be saying anyway. Why are they in the game? It's funny. So you, let's say that I had never seen Zemke's game, or that maybe we weren't even Platoon. It wouldn't have gone exactly the same, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that neither one of us knew each other and we just played our games. Either one of us may have looked at it and go, well, you know, this was largely something that was really important what I did, you know. As we look at it, we can tell that both of us got really lucky in a couple situations, a couple 3, 4, 5 situations. So, I mean, 10 to maybe a dozen times, we should have more or less been out of the game. Think about that amongst the 15 players. How many of those in any one game is there where the roll of the dice, the dispersion, the RNG, the penetration, the damage roll, the module damage, whatever the case may be, how many times each game does that make a massive difference in a game? So he's trying to not get killed by the Panther 8.8. Did a really nice job, guys, on this one. If you just want to kind of check out what he did with dead tanks around him, make sure you're always using all the possibilities around you. So Zemke's doing a nice job Using dead tanks as extra armor, things to hide up behind. Always look for situations like that. There goes the EBR. He's going to rage out into where the ISU kills him, which is a bit mind-boggling. That was just a bad idea. There's no reason for the EBR to go that deep, so to speak, into it. I mean, coming around here and scouting in the south is a great plan. What I would have loved to see the EBR do is stay to the south of the cap point, maybe. Kind of just move around through these areas and just sort of try to find where they are instead of just going all the way into where he knows they probably are and letting 2 or 3 guns have shots on him. And honestly, if he was going to do that, let's just beat that dead horse. I'd have come across the south, across the K row, right? And then come up the 0 column. If you want to do that, that's great, because at least then you got some bushes to kind of scout from. Maybe you get a sniper shot or 2. Maybe you run away after that. Who knows? But he just blasts through the middle. Just not the thing to do, fellas. Think about your approaches. Think about the enemy lines of sight where they can see you. Zemke was thinking about maybe pushing into these guys, but we know we've got an RHM and an ISU wandering around somewhere. Uses the rockets to cross. It's hard to turn with the rockets, guys. And then that gets us kind of stacked up together here where we can defend each other. This is where I'm trying to deal with this S-51, and I actually had no idea that the ally here was coming in, that the platoon mate was coming in here. So he keeps around. This guy's like, oh no! You saw him realize it just as Zemke turned around. Now, one thing to think about, I've used all my rockets. He's got 2. Now, he's only got 120 hit points, but the thing about the BZ endgame like this with the rockets, it's a pretty heavy tank. So there are some opportunities to add some velocity to your ramming. Something to think about. You'll see guys use them to increase the damage or to get into the ram faster. Obviously, you'll travel faster to ram them. Here's where, again, we're discussing the whole stack on how we want to defend the 2 ways. This is a pretty good little defensive spot here. Zemke rushed that just a little bit. Looks like he didn't want him to get the gun online, and I would agree with that. Boom, look at that. Nice. We did discuss right there, you might be going, well, Zemke, why aren't you pushing? That large gun on the ISU 152K does take a while to reload, but remember, he's got to cross a couple options here. He's got to cross all this distance to get there, plus we don't know where the RHM is. So I would agree with his plan here not to make that push. It was an option, though, and he did have rockets, so there was an opportunity here maybe to hit the rockets, come cruising up here, and try to get reloaded before the ISU 152K did. That was going to be a close one, so I actually like the more defensive mindset. Let's just get reloaded and force them to make a mistake right here. And this is pretty funny because we've discussed, all right, is the RHM around here? And he finds him. Dude's on the move, he's like, oh no! Nice. Nice. I wasn't exactly sure how that went down. Even on my review while we were talking, I wasn't sure how that went down. So that was really good on his part. You notice the backwards kind of side scrape peek look action right there. So there you go. Nicely done, Zemke. We end up with 9 kills out of that whole thing. He's got another. Actually, he's got 3,000. I thought he had. Well, maybe he's only 2,300. I thought he was 3. There might have been a blind shot. Yes, there probably was actually, because remember he shot up into that hill up there, so that was probably about 700 because he's over 3,000, so that blind shot did hit. The one where I noted that it didn't seem to hit the ground. Well done, man. Appreciate that. There you go, fellas. Overpowered tank. We should have been out of this, 5 or 10 times, maybe a dozen times or so. But great teamwork. Question with whether you're lucky or not, and it goes with being unlucky as well, is not whether you were lucky or unlucky, because that's not controllable. In terms of the pure dice rolls, right? You're in control of everything from your brain down to your hand and how you aim and how you click, and then from there, the game really does take over. You can put yourself with your brain and your hand-eye coordination into a better position or into a good position. You can make good decisions on trying to trade, but once you click, the rest of that is out of your hands. But the question is not or what happens after you click in terms of what the game does, but what do you do after that? How do you assess and make the next decision after you clicked the mouse button? And then that, again, that's all you from there. How do I move my tank? How do I aim? What am I paying attention to? What's my shot? What's my shot decision? What's my shot priority? Where do I go? How do I assess? Yada, yada, yada. And then again, you click again, and then the game makes a decision. And remember, based on the way this game is done with 30 players, all the tanks in the game, whichever ones are still alive, are making the same decisions, and then they click, and then the game makes all those RNG, dispersion, penetration, yada, yada, damage rolls. Kind of fascinating, actually. You know, if you sit there and go, well, it's just random and the game just decides. Well, partly. There is a lot of that after you click, but everything from the cranium to your hand clicking the mouse button for your shot, and that applies to where you drive and all that stuff, that is all you. That's all you. Then you click, and then the game makes a split-second decision on that particular shot and puts all the game mechanics into play, and then it's back to you. Back to you, Fred. Take it away. All right? All right, man. That's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in. We will see ya.